Hello, and welcome to the AmpEra 1.0 user manual. The plugin is written in a dedicated Reaper format, so it won't work with other audio software. Let's start by adding the plugin to the guitar track. And it's here on my favorites, of course. There we go. First we have a short introduction message. And if you're impressed already, you can click the QR codes and send a donation right away, for which I would be very grateful. Click the text and here we are. If you have a high resolution screen, you can click the help button and adjust the scaling to whatever you feel that is best for your display. So this is now double the size. First, a few basics. Double-clicking any control will return it to the default position, and command or control dragging will allow precise adjustments. On these sliders, these rectangular boxes can also be double-clicked, so you can quickly get to that position. The heart of this plugin is this era setting, and it's a single slider that allows you to go from late 60s all the way to the 2010. This plugin doesn't model any existing amps, but these decades are only to represent the nature of the amp that would be natural for that time period. We have two speakers, UK and US, not very specific, but they are only to represent two different kind of approaches. UK side is a more round and softer, while this US sound is more like a scooped and a bit brighter sound. And there are several positions in between to allow mixing them. The speaker button bypasses the impulse response completely, but you have to double click it for it to operate. Of course, gain is familiar to everyone. And the output volume adjusts automatically. Gain at 1 is cleanish, but a kind of a warm clean. So if you want really dry clean, you can pull it down to 0. The gain stops at 10, but if you really want more, it goes to 11. Resonance control. It adds a very low frequency layer on the sound. And if you cut it a bit, it maybe sits a bit better in a mix. And then the regular bass. And the fat is kind of a pre-gain bass adjustment. So by cutting the fat, you can get a tighter sound. Or a fatter sound. Low, mid. And there's a frequency for the low mid adjustment. High mid with the frequency adjustment as well. Treble. And a presence setting that creates more air above the treble frequencies. It might be a bit lost in the video compression though. Then of course master volume. And a sag setting that emulates the tube amp compression and dynamics when it's pushed a bit. Then we have a room ambience. I personally like it around 3.5 or 3 maybe. I like the spaciousness. Then we have the delay. It's a tap tempo delay, so we can adjust the tempo just by tapping the green LED. And we can also adjust it manually by clicking and holding. Then there is this pan setting, and it exists here because if you pan from the Reaper track controls, it will make the room ambience and delay more narrow. Using the pan here will retain the correct stereo image. Then the gate, that's a special one. It's often difficult to get the gate opening and closing times to suit the guitar track very well, but this makes it all automatic. If we are playing a rhythm track with a lot of breaks, the gate will close immediately when the note stops. But if you are playing a longer note, the gate closes slowly, and it operates on 4 different frequency bands. It really is a set and forget kind of a gate. Then we have the quality settings. Oversampling gives you a better sound, but it costs more CPU. And the speaker impulse length, it will also affect quality, but it does add a slight bit of latency. And a special one here is this. Let's open another AmpEra. In this main plugin, I click all available instances, and it already shows receiving all available instances. Now, when you make a setting here, it will change in the other plugin as well. And it will change in all AmpEra plugins that you have in the same project. If you want to record with the shortest latency and least CPU usage, you can use this. And then, before rendering, you can put the maximum in place. Then there's an A/B switch, and these two are completely separate instances. And you can copy the sound from A to B. Then we have the ADT, automatic double tracking. You can adjust the width, and you can adjust the delay length. And to get back to the default settings, you can double click it with a Command, Control, Shift or Option. And double clicking the ADT normally will turn it on or off. And we can see that with the gain settings, the tubes are working hard, so they are glowing in there. Haha. And more on the help page. This is a very short cheat sheet for a few things. And here will be a link to this video that I'm making right now. And here as well we have the QR codes in case you feel that this plugin is worth a few bucks. Now let's go through a few sounds. First on the clean side, the oldest era, the sounds are quite smooth and soft. And the gain reacts very differently, so they get that certain mushiness in them. And on the other speaker side, and then on the 80s, it's tighter and the distortion is more fluent, but still quite round and soft. And then we get to the 90s. Basic 80s, 90s rock sound. Furthermore, in the millennia, we get a wider frequency spectrum and even tighter distortion. and all the way to the 2010. This requires a drop D. And everything in between. All these sound settings were with the tone adjustments at the neutral positions. So in addition to all these era and speaker settings, you can get pretty much anything out of this one. There you go. Hope you like the plugin. Thanks for watching. Bye.